Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to be talking about the group by, order by, and having keywords. In previous videos we had talked about the select, from, and where statements, and in a very last video we just talked about operators like union, intersect, and except. So this video is a continuation, and after this video we will do a little practice with me video practicing the group by, order by, and having. So before we talk about the group by, order by, and having, let's talk about the like and I like keywords first. So the I and I like keywords are simply used to filter out the results we want from our result set or from our table. Let's say, for example, in my book data set. So I'm going to put the link to this data set in the description below. So let's say in the book data set, in the books table, it has three tables: authors table, books table, and where's the next table? Let's see, and publishers table, right? So let's say that in the books table, this is the books table. Let's say that in the books table, I want to find all titles that have the word that starts with the letter F, or that just have the letter F in its title. Let's say I'm looking for a book named maybe The Days of Freedom. It has the letter F in it. Or Freedom is Coming. It has the letter F in it. So there is a way to find that. So I'm not so sure what the title is, but I'm sure it has a letter F. So I want to select title just as I've written from book.books, where title. So we have the like keyword and we have the I like keyword. So let's check what the difference would be. So for like is literal. I like combines both uppercase and lowercase. So it checks for both uppercase and lowercase of the given word or letter. So for like, it's literal. Let's say I want to look for this with the keyword like. So this means that what I'm looking for is from the title that would be given. I want to find, let's use uppercase F. I want to find titles that have uppercase F. Where it does not start with uppercase F, neither does it end with uppercase F. That means there are words before the uppercase F and there are also words after the uppercase F. So let's see. If we run this, we have three books. So we have financial freedom. So we have financial freedom as part of the result, not because of the F in financial, because that's the name of the book, but because of the F in freedom, because it's somewhere in between. It has words before it and it has words after it. Same for the book of fairy tales and the rise and fall of empires. So let's say we remove this percentage sign. What we are saying now is we want titles that starts only with letter F. And if we run this, we only have financial freedom because it starts with letter F, right? And if we also remove this, it means we want books that, let's say, it means we want books that end with letter F, right? And there is no book ending with uppercase letter F, which I would expect. So if we change this to lowercase, let's see. No book ends with letter lowercase. But let's do this. So this is lowercase f. Just like I said earlier, the like keyword is literal. It looks for lowercase f, only lowercase f in this instance. So we have all of these titles. The Art of War. So in the word of, it has lowercase f that neither starts the title nor ends the title. So let's look at our I like. So when we have I like, what we are saying literally, let's use uppercase F. In the like, if you remember when we ran this for the keyword like, we had 3 results where we had uppercase F between, right? In between the title of your book. Now with the keyword I like, what this does is it takes for both uppercase and for lowercase. So if we run this, we have the same result here. We have actually plus one more result because it checked for both uppercase and for lowercase. I hope this makes sense. Of course it does. So if you remove the first one, now we are looking for books that start with uppercase F and lowercase f. And if you run this, oh, I just have financial freedom again. So yeah, this is the difference between the like and the I like. So back to our main topic for today. We want to look at group by, order by, and having keywords. So for the group by, we use group by to create a group for every distinct value in our resultant table. So that means we want to have one output for each group. Now let's look at the query. We have, let's select everything from book.books. Let's select everything from book.books. So if we do this, we have, so I just wanted us to look at the genre. We have mystery, fantasy, science, cooking, adventure, history, philosophy, economics. We have all these genres, right? And let's say that we want to find our results by genre. Let's say we pick mystery. We want to find information about the mystery genre or the fantasy genre. That's where the group by keyword comes in. But one important thing about the group by, if there are many important things about the group by keywords, by the way, but the first one I'd want to mention is that any attributes you select in your first line with the select statement, that same attribute is what you group by. That's the first thing I want to say. So if we select, as we were going to select genre, then at this point we want to group by genre. Then besides the attributes that you group by, which is the attributes you should have on your select statement, the only other attributes allowed to be on the first line are aggregates. For example, count, max, mean, average, right? Those are the only other aggregates or attributes that are allowed to be on the first line. I can have genre, select genre dot title. This is title, and then a group by genre. This is illegal. That's what it's called. It's not going to run. It's illegal. So you see, I have an error, and the error says select genre dot title line 1. So there is an error, as I just said, with my line 1. So it wants title to appear in the group by clause or to be used in an aggregate. That's exactly what I said. So, but if we have only this, want to select genre from this and group by genre, this would run. So we have how many of them? We have about 36 genres. That's what we have. Okay, nice. So we have 36 genres. So based on these genres, now we can apply aggregates. Let's use count. So let's say we want to count the number of books we have per genre, right? So we have the ID, table, page count columns, general, auto ID, and pub ID. So to count, we could just say star. So this is what we have for each of the 36. For each of the 36 genres, we have one book from the hobby genre. We have sports, one book, two. We have two history books. We have three fantasy books. We have five science books. We have two biology books. We have two books on education, one book from the maths genre. So we could use star or we could use title, right? We could use title. Let's see. That should give us the same result. Yeah, that gives us the same result. So at this point, let me talk about, let's see. But I just hope everything I've said so far is clear. So what this query on my screen does is it's counting the number of books per genre. So at this point, let me talk about having. So this is the having keyword. So we use the having keyword as a filter and it's only applied to the group by. That means wherever you have, for every query where you have a having keyword, expect that there is a group by keyword in that query. So the having keyword is used as a filter and it's applied after the grouping or after group by keyword. And we use it as a way to choose groups. So at this point, let's talk about having. So let's build upon the query we have already. So we have grouped by genre. How about we only want to return results that have for books, for genres that have less than or greater than two books, right? So what having does is now that group by group by um, is grouped uses the attribute from the select statement that you want to group by. Having is used to filter using the aggregate, right? This one count. So here we can say having count title wanna see those greater than two. So these are all the books greater than two. All the number of books for these genres where the books in all these genres are greater than two. So I hope what I've said makes sense. Having is used to filter after we've used the group by keyword. Having is used to choose what we want from the resultant table from the group by. Having can reference the aggregates that we have used um, in the select statement in the group by. So having said that, um, let's see. So at this point, we can now order by. Let's talk briefly about order by. At this point, let's talk about order by. So what order by does is, by default, order by default would give us our results in ascending order, right? So, but if you wanted your results in descending order, this is the keyword. You use this in descending order. So our result already is in ascending order. So if we wanted this in descending order, we'll simply go order by. So we have So at this point, we can also introduce our where statement. Remember from the beginning of this video, we talked about the like and the ILIKE. So we can say we want to select genre and we want to count all of the titles per genre from this table, where let's say title ILIKE, it has F somewhere. So let's see. So we only have the science books, right? So let's be a little bit more generous with this. Greater than or equals to. So this is going to also include results where the number of books for that genre is 2. So we have fantasy, we have biology, we have science. We see that if we find the titles for these 3 books or for these 2 books, they would have the letter F within the title. So now let's write another sample query, right? We've seen how we built this query from ground up till this point, and I think that's interesting. Let's just write one more sample query, then I think we'd end this video. So we can, let's say we want to write a query that gives us, let's say for books with title that begin with F, list the authors of those books. For books with titles that begin with F, list the authors of those books. So let's start. Select for books with authors, for books with title that begin with F. What we really want is to list the authors of those books, the count per author, and the average page count. So let me put down what I'm saying here. So this is what we're saying. For books with titles that begin with F, so where titles begins with F, that is where title, like I said, begins with F. So personally, I like to use ILIKE, begins with F. So this is what we have. For books with title that begins with F, list the authors of those books. So we want authors, right? And so the authors is in the authors table if we're looking for the names of the authors. So name. So that means that we want to have a from that goes to book dot authors. Let's give it an alias. Let's call it A. So here we have A dot name, right? And list the authors of those books, the count per author, and average page count, the count per author. Okay, so how many authors? So that will be count per author. We could just say this count per author and average page count. Average page count. So where is the page count? So the page count is in the books table. So that means we want to have a join at this point. So we have a join book dot books. Let's give it an alias B, and as usual we want to join it on something, but let's average page count. So this is page count. We want to average our page count. So that's avg average dot page count. Page count. Count. Come on. Okay. So we want to join on something. On how on what column do we join the authors table and the books table? Let's see. this has author's ID. So yes, author's ID. So we have A dot ID equals B dot author ID. Yeah, that's right. So what else are we looking for? So for books with titles that begin with F, we want to list authors of those books and and count per author. So because we are counting per author, this means we are supposed to have a group by, because we want to ignore authors who have just one book. So we want to group by a dot name, and we want to ignore authors who have just one such book. So we want to say having counts greater than 1. Yeah, greater than 1. Ignore authors who have just one of such books. So this is our query. This is our SQL translation of this English query. So for books with titles that begin with F, so where title I like F, list the authors of those books. So this is it. Select a dot name from book dot authors A, and we also want to count the number of books per author, right? So we have count and average, right? So yeah, let's run this. Oh, so we have none of such books though. We have none of such authors. We have none of such authors, but this is a translation of this. Okay, so but if we relaxed our table a little bit and changed um, having count to greater than 0, that means pretty much everything. We see that we have one author that has a book that has F in its title, and that book has an average. In this case, the number of pages would just be 330 because that's just one book. We're going to end this video here. I've pretty much said the most important things about group by, having, and order by. And in our next video, we'll do a little practice with me on this group by, order by, and having keywords. So I'll see you on the next one. If you haven't subscribed, please remember to subscribe. It's totally free.